Welcome to my Stories Red channel. If you liked the video, don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Also, please like and share your comments. We make new videos with interesting stories every day.
My 26F fiance is convinced I have a crush on my friend's husband. My best friend Sarah, 26F, and her husband Matt, 28M, have put me in a very difficult position with my fiance Jack, 30M. I knew Matt since my childhood. He was my neighbor and we were friendly. Sarah and I were roommates in college and became close friends. When I introduced Sarah and Matt, they hit it off and started dating each other. I was happy to see two of my friends get together, but also annoyed that I became the third wheel and was often ignored or set aside because they were so into each other. By the time I graduated, Matt had completely dropped me as a friend. That saddened me, but I was still good friends with Sarah, so it was what it was. Sarah and I would frequently hang out, but I never talked with Matt other than the occasional polite hellos. Sarah would sometimes try to do couples dates with her and Matt and me and my dates. I found that Matt had developed an unpleasant personality and would frequently be rude and condescending towards me. However, he's a very devoted and loving husband to Sarah, so for her sake I ignored him. When my fiancé and I got engaged, we had no plans to do a party. Sarah was disappointed that we didn't throw an engagement party, so she organized a small get-together at her home to celebrate us. The party was nice, and as things were winding down, my fiancé and I went to thank Sarah and Matt for their sweet gesture before we took our leave. Matt was pretty tipsy by then, and out of nowhere he suddenly hugged me and in front of my fiancé said that he was so glad that I was finally settling down and he is relieved that now I'll be over the crush I had on him. I was shocked and told him that wasn't true. He just laughed and told Jack that I was always chasing him and he had to work hard to keep me away. I dragged Sarah in and asked her to please fix this mess, and she was all like, "Oh, he's drunk, ignore him," and says, "You know, I always trust you. I know you wouldn't act on your crush." Jack was pretty pissed by this point and he walked out. I ran after him and tried explaining that this isn't true, but he told me he doesn't want to be anyone's second choice or their backup plan. Since that night he isn't talking to me or returning my calls. I have talked to Sarah multiple times to clear things with Jack, but she's brushing me off. I don't understand why they believe this or why she'd stay friends with me if she thought I was into her husband. I was in her wedding party and did all the work because her sister, who was the MOH, was too busy. I have helped her through her pregnancy and have babysat her kids so many times. She never gave me any indication she thought this, and why would she want me close to her family if she believed this? I feel humiliated that these people think I was pining away for a jerk like Matt. I need help in convincing Jack this isn't true. I am also mad at him for throwing away our relationship over what some drunken idiot said. I don't know what I am going to do about my friendship with Sarah. Update: I talked to Sarah again and asked her first of all why she'd think I had a crush on Matt. She said that when I first introduced them I had talked up Matt and gushed about him, and she took that as me being into him. I said I was fond of him since I've known him for a long time, but that doesn't mean I want to be with him. She said when they started dating I was often upset about it. I said I wasn't upset about their dating. I was upset that she'd make plans with me and then leave me to be with him, and when we were all together I didn't enjoy being the third wheel while they ignored me. That had nothing to do with wanting him and more to not liking being left out by my best friend. I asked her why she hadn't said anything before, and she explained that she could manage the situation. She had asked Matt to stop talking to me completely, and she engineered situations so there was little chance of us socializing with each other. I asked her, now that I have explained that I never had a crush on Matt, can you please talk to Jack and tell him? She said she didn't want to lie. This frustrated me immensely. She could ignore this imaginary crush for years and manipulate me, but won't talk to my fiancé to help my relationship. I told her I was done being her friend. Thinking back, I was always doing stuff for her and she used me but did little for me. Update 2. I wrote a long letter to Jack explaining the entire history of my relationship with Sarah and Matt with the recent screen caps. I asserted as best as I could that I had never pined after any guy and I loved him and he was my only choice. After days of silence, Jack agreed to talk to me. We met and he said that he sees two ways of interpreting this situation. 1. Matt and Sarah are right and he doesn't want to be my second choice. 2. They are malicious people who are messing with me, and that shows very poor judgment on my part that I'd have a best friend like this, and he doesn't want that quality in a life partner. Either possibility leads to the same conclusion, that he wants to call off the engagement. He reminded me that I had represented Sarah as one of the most important people in my life. I'd jump up and help her all the time. I had once canceled plans with him to take care of her kid when the baby was sick. It had irked him, but he had seen it as me being caring and nice. But now he's seeing all that in a different light. I cried and begged him not to end our engagement, but he wanted a break for a while. I thought over what he said for a few days and came to realize that he was right. I was a clingy friend and a doormat. I never even saw how much one-sided my friendship with Sarah was. I was a doormat with Jack too. I didn't want to get married or have kids this early but agreed to his timelines. I gave up an exciting job opportunity with more money because he didn't want me traveling for work. I love him, but I need to fix myself and be stronger. I gave back his ring and ended things. I returned all the gifts he gave too. He was offended by that, but I didn't feel good about keeping the very expensive things he had given me. He makes a lot more than me and was very generous with what he gave me, but I can't keep that now. Sarah was quiet for a while but then started calling me. I ignored a lot of her calls, but this morning I answered her call and told her about the breakup. I was looking for sympathy from my old friend. She was more interested in knowing if I was still going to watch her kid while she and Matt went on an overnight trip. She got pretty angry when I said no. I have blocked her now. I have lost my fiance, my best friend, and my relationship with my nephew whom I adored, all in one go. But still, I am thankful for the comments that showed this wasn't something I could fix and helped me rip off the band-aid and walk away from this mess. Update 2. I wanted to thank all the people who commented and made good advice to me about my previous posts. I especially want to thank those who advised me about my job. I took up that suggestion and went and talked to the hiring manager, explaining that I was very passionate about the work but I couldn't travel back then due to certain family responsibilities, but I am able to travel now. He didn't have that position open anymore, but he connected me with a manager in a different region. This job required relocating very far away, and that seemed like a blessing at this point, and I jumped on it. I am now in a new city and very grateful for leaving behind the mess that my relationships had become. The fallback after my engagement broke was not pleasant. I don't have a good relationship with my parents because they have always been very critical of me. This incident seemingly justified all their opinions of me, and they critted a lot about how I have ruined the only good thing I had managed in my life. Even though I explained what happened, the impression my family has is that Matt's family tried to do a nice thing for me and I had a tantrum at their party and my fiance broke up with me because of my behavior. I am so grateful to my job for allowing me to move away from all these people. My ex, SIL, had called me a few times to talk to me, but I avoided her for a very long time because I didn't think I could deal with more criticism. I did agree to see her a few days before I moved. She wanted clarification on why we broke up because she said that the reason Jack had given her was so dumb she was convinced he wasn't tell her the truth. She told me what he said and he had given her the correct details. I confirmed that's what had happened and she was dumbfounded. I hadn't realized this, but she liked me very much and thought well of me. I was so moved I cried. She might be the only person in real life who felt I wasn't in the wrong. She tried to convince me to talk to her brother and work this out. She was very disappointed to hear that I was moving away. Another reason I am glad for the relocation, otherwise I'd have been tempted to agree to her setting up a meet. Later, Jack left me a message saying we should talk, but I haven't responded to him. I moved and I am settling down in this new place. I am very busy with my new job and getting used to a very different lifestyle in this big city. I have thought about calling him, but then I think I should let that lie and work on building a new life for me. Comments. I think Sarah didn't want to admit that she was wrong because she felt good about stealing Matt away from OOP and it fed into her ego. Mind-boggling. Thank you for writing out what I couldn't master. She was a running joke to them and they thought that they had her leash tight enough that she wouldn't be able to steal Matt away. They both got a kick out of that. I wonder if their relationship lasts without the excitement of having Oop nearby ready to steal Matt away. Imagine basing your relationship on an imagined win over someone else. Their poor kid is going to suffer. Honestly, this sounds like a happy ending. OP is doing what it takes to build a life for her with people that actually respect and love her and building her career. Sometimes you need to let the old you die to reborn stronger. OP for the win. I wish her happiness in her new start. I agree, she's freed herself from the people holding her back and is starting on a new life. Hopefully she's learned enough to not befriend and date people like this in the future.